Hello and welcome to the Desktop Deployment Podcast. My name's David. I'm here with Jack as usual, and we have a guest today who is James, who you might better know as Apostate Terrain or Apostate Hobbies. So welcome, James.
Hello.
And Jack as usual.
Hello. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. How's everybody's weeks going?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. It's just it's only Tuesday, isn't it? Well, it's only Monday. Feels like Tuesday though. So, yeah, it's going like that. Yeah, not too bad though, mate. Got a little bit of hobby in just before starting the podcast. It's been pretty good. So
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, same. I've literally been doing some painting just before we started recording. So actually getting some stuff done before Christmas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What are you up to in a minute, James?
Yeah. Already wishing it was Friday with work. We've got a lovely stock take this week.
Oh, mate. It's not that, is it?
The worst.
Fucking
But
hell.
nearly Christmas, so something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's it. You're breaking up Friday, are you?
Yeah.
Ah, sweet.
Yeah, managed to wangle the getting half days on Friday and the following Friday as well. So pretty happy about that.
Nice.
I say I wangled. I basically waited for two other departments to go, oh, yeah, we should probably close early because, Christmas. And then when they went out, I went to my boss and went, so they're doing it. So there's no real point in us being here. But, yeah. But it's all my work, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Obviously it's been a couple of weeks since we last met up. So actually, before probably we get onto that, just to explain to everybody, because nobody listening will know, but we've got James on today to talk about events, Horus Heresy events that he's been running and continues to run, and the stellar job that he does on those. He's going to hang around with us and chat the usual crap that we do about hobby, and then towards the end of the episode, we're going to have a bit more of a in-depth dive into event running and the Orthorns Hopes events, which anybody who's listened to our previous episodes will have heard us harp on about previously.
And then everything gets compared to them, and everything falls short. No pressure, James. Just saying.
No pressure about the fucking second event in.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's gone now, isn't it? You just passed that now.
Just looks at other events and goes, oh.
It's not quite as good as mine. So what has come out that's been, what we got this news since the last podcast then? It's mainly been the old world stuff, hasn't it? I think.
It has, but we have had one little shiny nugget from the Horus Heresy, which was the Alpha Legion Saboteur, which personally I think looks fantastic.
Yeah, he looks sick, doesn't he?
And interestingly, again, it seems to be is it Mark V?
Yeah, it looks like it looks like he's in Mark V. Yeah, and that's really cool. That's the first Mark V model we've had for ages, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's interesting that the last few have been Mark IV.
Yeah. So it does look like sort of almost a hint of like a new Mark IV kit, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's nice as well that we're seeing the different marks, because I think there was a little bit of worry with some people when Heresy 2.0 came out, and obviously all the new sets were the Mark 6, that everything was just going to be Beaky Marines, and I think this just shows that no, they're still putting work into the other marks and not to be worrying.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. What do you reckon to the Saboteur, James? Is he much interest to you?
The only criticism I've got, I had someone else say, is the pose. He looks a bit second edition almost with the pose.
Yeah, like he's a single piece metal sort of thing.
Yeah, he's very, very close together.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I suppose he is meant to be a sneaky boy, though. So I don't know.
He's still a gorgeous model. He would just be a pain to convert, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not really gonna be one you're gonna be able to take parts off, is he? It's almost a bit like the sort of some of the plastic models, isn't it? Where it's kind of all the sort of the undercuts and the connections are all in weird places. So you can't just take an arm off or take a shoulder off.
Mm,
But the head's pretty cool. I'm assuming that'll be separate, or I hope it is
yeah.
anyway, because
I have
that'll look cool on some different models.
I've seen a couple of comments from people saying that they look like the Cylons.
Oh yeah, I think there's a couple of Alpha Legion heads like that already, isn't there?
Probably. I have to admit I've not really looked into them too much. I think they're obviously they've got a cool Legion, and I've seen plenty of people do some fantastic paint jobs for them, but they're not a Legion I've ever sort of looked at and gone, yeah, that I want to do them, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. So I can't say that I've ever looked that closely at their sort of customizable bit.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, like I said, I think he's a really cool model. Yeah, now you said it, James. Looking at the sort of the second edition pose kind of thing, I'm like, oh yeah.
It doesn't take away, does it? It's still
No,
a gorgeous
no.
model.
No, to be honest, I mean, I'm probably a bit biased. I quite like all the older, I like all the old metals. I'm a bit, I think it's like, don't know, something about like old school models. I'm like, yeah, I know it's technically worse and the scale's not right, but this guy looks fucking sick. Like,
You say that though, like I'm scouring eBay for the old metal Cadians at the minute.
yeah, oh mate, they're so nice, aren't they? I sold a load of those to Zach a couple of years ago, and he's painting them all up. And talking of which, Zach is someone we need to convince to get into the Heresy, because he's got a massive Imperial Guard army. It's all like built from like
Nice.
3rd edition, so it's like 3rd edition Cadians with 2nd edition Cadians as well. And it looks so good. Like, yeah,
Oh,
they're so lovely, aren't they? Those metal Cadians. They're just like,
ever since I've been doing the city fight stuff, it's just Cadian 122nd scheme. I just can't get
oh
away from it.
yeah, oh mate, oh that'd be sweet if you got. You know what? I think I've actually got some STLs for those.
That's a conversation for later.
That is a conversation for later. Yeah. I'll have to check the vault, but I think there's some rolling around. But yeah, that'd be sweet. Yeah, if you get all your city fights ready and you have, oh yeah. Whoa.
Oh, I'm rigid.
Yeah, we're gonna come around full circle, aren't we? We'll all just end up playing 3rd edition again.
I would be so down for playing a 3rd edition game.
Yeah, I'll be keen for that.
I think that
Get
was,
the old city fight book out.
that's my first ever jump into Warhammer was 3rd edition.
Yeah, I think it
And,
was for a lot of us, wasn't it?
remember
just
getting the starter set with the I think it was Black Templars and Dark Elder.
Yeah, you got the 20 Dark Elder Warriors.
And the little corner ruins.
Yeah,
that they
mate,
used to do.
I love those corner ruins.
And
I
I remember getting the rule book, getting out the rule book of the box, going, "Oh, that's
Yeah,
fairly thick."
it came with a full size rulebook, didn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like half the
And it was
box. It's a massive book.
had the was it 10 to 15 pages in the middle that had coloured pictures of the of the models, and then the rest of the book was in black and white.
All that lovely John Blanche artwork though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so good. I was looking through some of that the other day, actually. It's sort of like, sometimes it's just nice looking through it and just getting a bit of inspiration in it. You see something and you're like, oh yeah.
It's like you were saying in the last episode about your Goose Emperor flag.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Goose Emperor. I don't even know if that was John Blanche, actually. I think that was someone else that did that one.
Yeah, no, I
But-
meant as more as in like looking
Yeah,
back through old artwork for.
Yeah, the aesthetic. It had like those periods, sort of first, second, third, just had they all have very sort of unique art styles, didn't they?
Mm.
And then
Yeah,
it's
definitely. Not to say I don't like the some of the more modern stuff, but I don't know. I think there's a certain charm to the older artworks.
yeah, definitely, yeah. No, I think it's I definitely prefer the older stuff to a lot of the newer 40k art. It's all kind of digital, isn't it? It seems a bit too clean. It's like you say, you got like that old John Blanche stuff where it's like rough and ready. And who is the other guy? Simon Egan as well, I think. Is it Simon Egan? No, he's a sculptor, wasn't he? Who was the guy that did a lot of the 4th edition Space Marine stuff?
Dave Gallagher, I think that was.
Yes, I think that's who it is. Yeah, that is amazing. Sort of stuff. It's like he
There's
did.
that one image, that grey night that I always come back to. Black and white, loads of billowing purity seals.
Oh yeah. Was it him that did the original not say original the fourth edition artwork for Chaplain Grimaldis?
Oh, I don't know.
And that just looks so good. Like, oh yeah. A simpler time, a better time. Right, so third edition city fights then on the cards then, James. That's what I like to hear.
Militia and humans only, though.
Ah, that's all right. I'll have to get. I've got my steel. I've got a really big Steel Legion army I can get out. So get my Steel Legion out. I've got all my my Metal Sister Battle as well. My Metal Demon Hunters.
Oh, witch hunters.
Yeah.
I'd have to either borrow an army from Jack, or I have to get him to start up Old Faithful, the printer.
Get the printer fired up. Third edition STLs.
You know who the perfect person to do a third edition event would be?
Oh yeah.
It would have to be Danger Close and Aaron.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, for the true grognard feeling. Oh, that'd be so good. We'll have to try and bully him into it. Peer pressure him to do it.
I don't think it'll take much.
No, I don't think it will. Aaron, if you're listening to this, third edition Danger Close. Well, Chris, can we get Chris? Chris is, he's had enough time sort of raising a child now. He can step back out of fatherhood a little bit and run a third edition. What's more important, third edition event or raising your son?
It could be learning.
Exactly.
situation.
Yeah, start him with third ed. Yeah, and then he can build him up.
Yeah, have a better appreciation for the rules.
Exactly. It'd be like a history lesson, wouldn't it? Like, this is how we used to play 40k.
Back in my day.
If one member of the squad moved, no one could fire their rapid fire weapons over 12 inches. Oh, yeah.
In the way you can't see that person anymore.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, if you win an assault, you can consolidate into someone else, and then you fight them. And if you win that assault, you consolidate into someone else. Oh, the days before Overwatch as well.
And do I shoot my tactical squad at this other squad, or fire the one missile launcher at the tank?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, third ed is on the cards.
There we go.
Cadian 122nd, James. Do it. Make it
Oh,
so.
no. See, if we did third ed, proper old school Lost and the Damned.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the Eye of Terror book. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Oh, there you go. Dude, Lost and Damned versus Steel Legion.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Using third edition City Fighter. Oh,
yeah. We'd have to prop the table up with some extra wood just to like cover like the weight of the metal on the board and the throbbing erections that we'll have. Oh, yeah, no, I'm well keen for that. All right. Well, I don't think we peaked. This the peak of the podcast. We'll end it here.
Yeah. That was a little bit of a tangent there, but
yeah,
so,
right.
Yes.
The Saboteur pretty good, hey. So talking of like old school stuff, we've had the two things from Warhammer the Old World, haven't we? Since the last one. So the first one was the Living Saints and Special Rules. So a little look at the Grail Knight profile, and this is, I mean, both of these have just got me so much more excited for the Old World. Because I was proper keen anyway, and then the Magic one came out, and I was like, oh. And then this one came out, and I was like, oh, yeah.
Are you a Old World or Fantasy Battle fan, James?
Do you know what? I never really got into it. I've dabbled and always wanted to, but never. I've never got excited enough for it.
Well, now's your chance.
Yeah, I'll get you pulled in, James. We'll get you. What I've been doing is doing little intro games for everyone. Just getting everyone keen. So I'll draw you in. Come down. I'll bring 2 armies. We'll do an intro game, and you'll be like, "Oh, fantasy's pretty good, though." It's just
Jack is the gateway drug for Fantasy Battle.
Yeah. Pull you in. It's like, oh, you like Heresy? Well, Heresy's pretty sweet. But what if those dudes were on horses?
The first time's free.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, first taste of fantasy is free. But
I
yeah, no,
wouldn't be surprised if I end up doing an undead army.
oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I mean, there's so many options here on Dead as well now, isn't there? Like, there's so many really nice plastics for it. What way do you reckon you go? Do you reckon you do Tomb Kings or vampires or like something else like Vampire Coast or something?
Oh, Vampire Coast.
Yeah,
Zombie pirates would be the way.
yeah, that is the correct answer.
It wouldn't be me if I didn't do an army and do a weird, obscure.
Yeah,
Or,
exactly. There you go. See, now
Well,
you said that, James. Ollie has Vampire Coast. So
I was
now,
about to say we might
yeah,
know
so
somebody who
now
has
we
plenty
can
of
do
SGLs.
do you an intro game and you can play as Vampire Coast. And you'll be like, this is amazing.
I still remember the old list with like the land cannon off the ship and the
Yeah.
was it Harkin?
Sorry?
Was it Harkin the pirate?
Yeah, Harkin. Yeah. Ollie's got him. Old Harkin. What's his name? Harkin something or other. Because he's like the one that's like sort of sane, I think, and the rest are just completely batshit crazy. He's just got all these insane vampires that do like speeches to like their undead crew, and they're like, "We're on an adventure, man!" It's just all zombies. Like, cool.
To me, crabs.
Yeah. No, sorry, no. Harkin's the one who split his mind, isn't he? He's not. He's not sane. He's the mental one, isn't he? Because he like breaks his mind trying to take some like lizardmen treasure. So he rolls you roll each turn to see like see what his mind's up to.
Oh,
It's just it's awesome. You got the what they call what's the big ship called? It's like an animated ship. And with like
oh,
Yeah, I think Ollie's
Behemoths?
doing one of those, isn't he?
Ollie's got one, yeah. What's it?
He's got it. The one he's currently got is the Colossus, isn't it?
That's it, yeah. The Necrofex Colossus or Necrofex Colossus.
Mm.
Yeah, but there's a bigger one as well, isn't there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
really
giant crab
big one.
one, isn't? Well, one on the back of a crab, isn't it?
Oh, it's the gift that keeps on giving. Vampire pirates. There we go. Make it so.
But yeah, and one of your predictions came true in the Living Saints and said that you thought the armor bane would be if you roll a natural 6, you get additional armor piercing, and you were right.
It's almost like I knew. Dun, 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 dun. I didn't, but I think it was, a lot of the stuff seems to be fairly guessable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Seems to make sense. But yeah, so like, I mean, obviously the first thing of this thing is the Grail Knight profile, isn't it? And that's like, I mean, I saw that and I was like, oh wow. Like, because it looks like the points value is going to be about the same as 8th edition.
Right.
Which is so 38 points model for Grail Knight, which is what they are now in 8th edition, and they've gained a weapon skill. Pretty sweet. So that's skill 6. So that's mean they're going to be hitting lower weapon skill dudes on 2s.
Nice.
Just a neat chart. Which is a big bonus for the Grail Knights. They've and a toughness 4 as well, which is really big because they're only toughness 3 loss in which meant they were really vulnerable to missile fire, to chaff. But toughness 4 makes them quite a bit tougher there. But then they've got quite a lot of changes. I mean, the first big change is I think it'll definitely make a big difference to cavalry armies, is you don't get +1 to your safe being mounted anymore. So
No,
everything
but
with the armor, shield, and barded horse is only a 3 up now, instead of a 2 up.
then I have noticed that it does say on the warhorse it's got its iron shod hooves, counts as hand weapon and barding, but it doesn't say what barding does.
No, it does somewhere further down.
Is it?
Yeah, so barding's +1 to your save. So yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's as you can see, with weapon skill 6, 5 initiative, and 2 attacks, this Band of Brothers are a truly terrifying proposition. But their stats aren't the full story. With heavy armor, shields, and barded Bretonnian warhorses, they have a save of 3+, while the lance gives them +2 strength on the turn they charge, and armor bane 1. So yeah, it just looks a little bit of a mix-up. So it looks like heavy cavalry are going to be a bit more vulnerable to shooting attacks, as you're not going to have that 2+ save anymore. So if you're hit by a handgun, which I would assume is still going to have armor piercing, you're only going to be rolling, either a 4 up or a 5 up save. So they'll probably go down pretty easily to to shoot them, but then when they get into combat, they're going to really hit like a train. Brings on obviously the really cool things, the Grey Knights. So they've now got a champion in the unit. They never used to have a champion before.
Oh, okay.
They've still got Living Saints, which probably means they can also accept initial challenges, which is what it was before. But they've got the Grail Guardian, who's an even better Grail Knight with another attack, and he can take a virtue. So this guy's he's pretty much a paladin leading the unit. And that's really cool. You've got because these guys in the background, they're they're like the elite of the elite of sort of human fighters. If you're not, unless you're best of Dark Gods, obviously, they're supposed to be. They've been there, seen it all. They fought across the old world. They're killing demons and beasts and that sort of thing. They've drunk from the Grail. They're sort of these guys are like the fucking boys.
Basically, Indiana Jones on a horse.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So seeing them have that stat line to represent that, and having the top, the Grail Guardian be able to take a virtue, that's like, this makes me really excited. I think
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. And then stuff like counter charge as well, which is really cool. Like you've got the so if the enemy charges you can charge them back, and it seems to be a bit of a thing with Bretonia, like that combined with the first charge rule as well, which allows them to ignore your rank bonus on the first charge to game with that unit. And that looks like
interesting.
And if that's going to be on every Bretonian Warhorse unit, Bretonia are going to hit really, really hard.
It does seem to be the first charge of the unit rather than
the
army, which is interesting.
And keep staggering. And obviously, the other side of that, of course, is that you don't just break and die now. If you fail your leadership test and your natural leadership, you just get pushed back. But they are still going to get their charge bonus. Sorry, get their charge bonus again then. So, it looks like heavy cavalry now are gonna, or Bretonian heavy cavalry anyway, are really gonna hit. When they hit you, they're gonna hit you really hard. So yeah, it looks really good. And then we've just got more examples of these. We got Blessing of the Lady, which looks like that's exactly the same as it was before. So Bretonia still won't be going first anytime soon. So everyone kneels to pray, and then they get the blessing. But the Grail Knights get it. I think they still get it whether they pray or not. But obviously, you're still going to pray. So you want the rest of the army blessing as well. And it looks like we've got the base size again on here, which we saw with the Prophetess. So it looks like we're going to get all of the base sizes for all the units. So if you 3D print your own, or if you want to change your base sizes, or if you're building something from eBay and you want to know what the base size is, it's there. So I really like they've included that. So that's really good. Just makes everything so much more. The amount of times you get. I mean, it's not never normally a problem, but occasionally you get people going, "Oh, what base should this be on?" And it can cause a little bit of confusion sometimes. So just having that in the profile is really good. I'm hoping it's still not going to lead to people being like, well, actually, your base size is 5mm too small, so you can't play the game.
That's an unfair advantage.
Yes, I wouldn't expect to see anyone rebasing their models anytime soon. I mean, it's just, if you've got a full fantasy army, no one should be expecting to rebase models. But
I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that will.
Well, expect it or do it.
No, that we'll just change it anyway.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. Yeah.
I've seen quite a few on some of the Facebook groups and stuff, people putting up pictures of getting movement trays that will fit the smaller bases, but the size of the movement tray takes into account the new base sizes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, it looks sort of a bit more spaced out. I might go down that route perhaps, but as we'll see, if I need to get more movement trays for the Lance formation, because if by the looks of the pictures, the Lance formation is the old 5th edition one. So if I need to get trays for that, because obviously all my trays are designed for the 6th edition Lance formation, then I'll get the larger. I'll get some that sort of make the bases a bit larger there.
It looks cool AF.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And then we've got the explanation of special rules. So it looks like Universe special rules are definitely in, with 75 in the game. Pretty good. And it looks like psychology lives in there as well. So this leaves a lot at first glance, but this new system collates a lot of special rules that once live in several places, things like psychology, unit coherence, and monster rules, which is brilliant. So you're not looking all over the book trying to find a rule. There's definitely sprung out in Horus Heresy, isn't there? when you, I mean, I don't know with James because you play some more esoteric armies as well, don't you? I'd imagine you spend about an hour a game just looking through trying to find a rule for a for a unit because it's in like
Doesn't
4
help when you look for a rule, so you check the rule book and then you realise, oh, actually, it's not in the rule book; it's in
Yeah,
my Legion book.
Yeah, or it's in an obscure page. So in Heresy, we were trying to find the other day where the rule is that stops units with movement 0 from charging. Do you know where it is? It's in the charge modifiers bit of the book.
Cool.
So yeah. It's like, oh, okay, cool. So you know the bit of the book that's like what bonuses you get for having a certain move value. It's in there. You think surely it would be somewhere around the move 0 characteristic? Like there's a lot of that I think with Heresy, and also with something like Bolt Action as well. Bolt Action's really bad for that, isn't it? It's got
Yeah.
rules just everywhere, and it'll be in a little side box somewhere. And you're like, oh, cool. There's a little picture of a Japanese artillery observer there, and then underneath it will be, oh, here's a really important rule for the game. You're like, all right, cool.
I think them doing this is probably a good sign that they weren't just bullshitting when they said in the article that the people making Old World have been playing old editions, each edition of the game, to try and get the best of all of it. And I think a big part of that would have been them obviously probably being quite frustrated themselves, having to look through the different rule books, because if you're playing so many games of each edition, you're going to have to check in between the rule books in between, because it won't be the same in each edition. So
that's a really good point.
I think that does show that it wasn't just a little fluff piece in the article. It does seem that the people have actually been putting some thought into it.
Yeah, and it does. I've got to say, it does all of that, doesn't it? Everything I've seen so far, other than the magic face, everything I've seen so far, and that does look like it's had a lot of thought. Editions, which one worked the best? What do people like? What feels the most fun? And how are we going to make that work? And it looks like all of that. They really put some time into that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just. As we go down, we've got the exploration of. We've got another exploration of close order, which is covered in earlier on. The counter charge rule. So if they're charged by cavalry, monsters, or chariots, then they get to charge them back. So they can go D3+1 and both counts charging. That's brilliant again for Bretonia, because they really excel in the charge. They really excel at killing big things. So if you can get the charge off on a dragon or something, you can really fuck them up. Finest Warhorse, just a rename of the purebreed Warhorse rules. They ignore the barding penalty. I think actually it's not. Sorry, I got that wrong. Actually, that's reroll ones to charge, flee, and pursue. That's really good, isn't it? So again, it's really pushing Bretonia into being that charge faction, isn't it? So, and in fact, when we look at the next article, it seems to be that the roles of the peasant units seem to have almost been more solidified into being the line holders or the knights of the line breakers.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So obviously that pretty much leads us on to the second article, which came out today, talking about how to build your army and the different parts of the army and what you can spend on those different parts and army composition and all of that malarkey.
Yeah, this is all really exciting, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So what was your first thoughts on reading this then?
So I thought it was interesting that they've now amalgamated lords and heroes. So that's all one bit, which is interesting. And then they've put in units or mercenaries as well, which I think that's cool. I like that. But that's obviously you kind of got that in. I'm wondering if, because obviously we're only getting a sort of brief look at it on here. I'm wondering if maybe we'll see a bit more of a breakdown into those options, kind of like you do with Heresy, where if you take an allied detachment, it's still got to have one troops choice and a HQ, and then you can only have like a smaller options of additional types of units that you can take as well. But
Yeah, no, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see what that contains. But the mercenaries are quite interesting because this is the first time Bretonia's been able to take mercenaries.
Mm.
Because previously they were always banned from taking dogs of war.
Okay.
So that's a new one. So that'd be cool. And just I think mercenary is going to give you a lot of options for converting and painting something new as well, isn't it? Like all the regiments of renown.
Yeah.
If they're back in as mercenaries, that'd be amazing.
I imagine that'd probably be their own thing, maybe, because obviously this is set of old world wise. It's set a few hundred years before end times, as it were. So I imagine like the units of renown might be slightly different, maybe. So it might give them, the Games Workshop the opportunity to, add more, and makes these special units and stuff that people can add into their armies, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. So you're saying, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, like you said, we got the characters thing is the first up then in the army composition. That's the thing, yeah. So it does say that you've got, so this is the grand army, which every faction is going to have, with some stipulations. But then there's going to be other armies as well, or other army lists that you can use to play the faction.
Yeah.
And that sounds really interesting. So that's probably going to mean we're going to be able to get that flavor that we had in sort of the older, sort of mainly 6th edition, where you had all those extra rule books and those extra Romulus and White Dwarf floating around. And you could say, oh, I wanted to play probably like I mean, we can hope the Vampire Coast might then be one of those army lists in the Vampire Army. It might be like, look, you got your Grand Army for Vampire counts, but one of those is here's your pirate vampires. These are your stipulations, but these are the extra things you can take.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're going to do that way. But yeah, so it looks like so anyway, we'll come on to that in a minute, I suppose. So for the Grand Army of Bretonia, which is their core list, as you will. I suppose this is almost your right of warless army, isn't it? If you were to play
Yeah.
Heresy.
Yeah.
It's your vanilla one. There's no Delegatus and there's no Praetor. So characters, like you said, characters have been combined. So you still got, it's like they're the same combined points they would have been in 8th, but they
Yeah.
seem to be a lot more limited, don't they? Especially on the Lord level characters. So we've got the Baron or a Prophetess, and only one of them per 1,000 points.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So it looks like you're not going to be able to sort of. It's going to be quite hard to get high level wizards or lots of high level characters. And with Bretonia, anyway, that might change with different armies, perhaps. But it looks it's going to
Different
be.
lists as well, I suppose.
Yeah. Like there's the hint of the Errantry War one, which I'm assuming is, you're probably more barons, but no prophetesses, perhaps. And the change on core is quite interesting. With the 1+ now seems to be contained in the army list as opposed to in the actual unit profile.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'm into that. It's well done, and it looks like they've really thought about sort of how the composition of a Bretonian army should be. So you've still got the 1+ of Knights of the Realm, but you've now got to take a 1+ unit of peasants as well. And then the Knights Errant are limited. You can only have 1 unit of Knights Errant for every Knights of the Realm unit you've got. So you've got kind of the experienced knights. They turn up battle, and then the Knights Errant are all their sons who have turned up to. They're there to win glory and show off in front of their families. But they're still kind of they're still playing second fiddle, as it were, to the actual experienced knights. So it's nice to see that they thought about that a little bit, as opposed to, because I think there was an argument at some point where people would just try and take as many Knights Errant as they could. But it looks like it's very sort of gauged around the fluff. So you've got you can take your Knights Errant, and as they say, as we come down to one of the other options in a minute, they mention that does change if you're playing different list.
Yeah.
What it's also it's going. Sorry,
I was going to say, I'm just going to make a silly comment saying this Grand Army list sort of composition is very much welcome to Flavor Town.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely, yeah. Or the way they seem to be saying, the army list seems to be that. Then we've got special 50% again, so exactly the same as last time. And again, we've got the limits on units are in the list as opposed to on the units profile. You've got as many squires, questor knights, pegasus knights, and manners yeomen as you want. So squires are back, which is cool. Because they were taken out of the book in a 6th edition book. So they've not been a playable unit for Bretonnia for a long time.
Nice
So
to see 'em
it's
come back.
really cool. Yeah, really cool to see those come back in. And then the Battle Pilgrims are 0 to 2 now per 1,000 points, because previously Battle Pilgrims were a 0 to 1 choice. And you
Oh,
have
really?
the model with the Grail Vow in it. So it looks you can a few more Pilgrims now, which is cool. It's nice to have that theme of just the crazy zealous nut jobs. And then we've got Rare, and then so we've got Grail Knights. They're not 0 to 1 anymore. That's changed. But the Trebuchet is 0 to 1 per 1,000 points.
Hmm.
And it looks like they've thrown that in because there was is in the 6th edition list. There was a tendency to sort of take multiple trebuchets, as many trebuchets you could possibly fit in the army.
Oh, right.
They're really fucking good. So it looks like they've cut that down a little bit, which is probably, again, is good because, although the trebuchet is a core of the Bretonnian list, it's still a really rare item.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not something that they're carting loads of around. It's something that the experienced peasants are building before the battle, but they don't. They don't have the education or the manpower or the materials to build shitloads of them.
Yeah.
So
And
that's go on.
I was going to say, and I like with this army composition is that they're showing that there's like different ways to limit stuff. So they haven't just gone, oh well, in this size game you can only take X number of this unit. You've got some which are like that, like for example the Duke, you can only take one maximum, but you don't have to take any. But then you've got other ones which like the Trebuchet, which is you can take a maximum of one per 1,000 units, and then again with the Knights Errant you can only take one per Knights of the Realm that you've taken. So it's I think I think it's really nice how they've done that, because it's not just the size of the game that's limiting
It
what you
scales
can take.
really well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really builds in the fluff to end up with an army. Whatever you end up taking, as long as you're obviously following the rules set out there, it's still going to look like a nice rounded Bretonnian army on the
that's it.
table.
Yeah. Do you reckon you'd like to see something like this for Heresy?
Yeah, I can't see be a bad thing. Like, obviously, yeah, you have a very small element to it with the rights of war. But obviously, that to take those, you have to have obviously a delegatus or a praetor, really to do them, or obviously Primarch. But yeah, it'd be cool to have maybe like a couple of like fluffy style lists where you maybe don't have to take one of those high ranking models and take something else sort of stipulated in the flavor of the list that gives you maybe some bonus for taking that type of thing maybe.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. What do you reckon, James? Have you zoned out? It's too much fantasy talk for you.
The thing I liked, and I remember it being in old school fantasy, was the percentage on your points dictating what you could take. That's something I wouldn't mind seeing in Heresy.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think especially for bigger games as well, where the force organization gets a bit unwieldy, doesn't it?
I think it would definitely change up kind of what you see in lists a little bit.
Yeah. No, I think you're right there. Yeah, and maybe make stuff a bit more balanced. Sort of in army, not necessarily rules wise, a balance in army composition. Like say you wouldn't see sort of bare bones troops and then maxed out elites.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, because you've got that percentage cap. Okay, you can take whatever you like, but you can still only have 25% rare.
Yeah, exactly. And that was, this was the system for old school 40k as well, wasn't it? I think it was only 3rd edition where that dropped out.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. But anyway, so moving on from that, so we've got a little explanation underneath about kind of how it works. The characters you can take, and like I say, this does show there's a couple of new units to Bretonnia, which is pretty cool. You've got the Sergeant at Arms in the character slot, so I'm assuming he's going to be sort of a high-ranking yeoman, which would be cool. So you've actually got a peasant character now, pretty sweet.
That is cool.
Yeah, and we've got the Knights are on foot, which we've already seen, and the Squires are back, which is nice. But it does show that we don't. Well, I say it shows we don't. In this list, there's no Hippogriff Knights, which I think are a lot of people were expecting were going to come. But then,
Yeah, I was going to say, but
but then we've got the mention of the other kinds of army that Britannia can play. So we've got the Army of Infamy, which is the Border Princes. So they're a little bit more, by the sounds of it, they're sort of a more, they're in like an exiled duke who's leaving the army, and they're probably a little bit less zealous. They're a little bit less cut and dry than the Bretonians are, and they mentioned they can take cannons and guns.
Mm.
So that's really cool. But then the other one is the Errantry War one, which I was saying earlier. That's probably going to harken back to the 6th edition Errantry War list, where you could take, your army consisted of knights errant, led by Grail Knights.
Yeah.
So it was all the young, the young knights who are out to win glory. They're out on a crusade, sort of out, they're going out to Araby, or out into Kemri. They're off, they're all off to win glory. So it's probably going to be a very small amount of peasants in that army and a lot of mounted knights. And maybe in that army, you might see Hippogriff Knights, perhaps. If there's more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and then obviously further down, they've got an actual Hippogriff.
they have, yeah. Well, we skipped over the lore, didn't we? So I suppose we'll just cover the lore quickly.
Yeah.
It shows we've got those different Lord level characters back.
Yeah.
Another level in between the Duke and the Paladin. So we've got the Baron. He like I say, he's on the same level as the Prophetess in the thing. So he's either or with a Prophetess per 1,000 points.
Yeah.
He's pretty much got the stat line of the old Duke, hasn't he? So then the Duke has just gone up. So he's gained a weapon skill, he's gained a strength, and he's gained an attack and a wound from the last edition. So he's an absolute beast. And he comes with the Grail Vow base, so he's seen it all, he's done it all. He's a holy knight. And then he can still take, they've got the levels of magic items, and they can all take a virtue now in addition to the magic item costs. That is brilliant, because that was a real problem with Bretonia, is that you buy your virtue, and then you'd lose your magic items allowance. So you'd have a guy rolling around with a mundane lance because he couldn't afford a magic item because he had a virtue. Which is, a bit of a problem, really. But yeah. And then we've got the special rules for them. So Rallying Cry, I assume, is going to be the General's Hold Your Ground rule, perhaps?
Yes, so yeah.
Similar, but I guess we'll wait to see. That's probably maybe something you have to do in the command phase. They did mention there's a command phase now, didn't they, where you choose what your character's going to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And yeah, so then we come down to the Hippogriff.
Mm.
Which again is, and that seems to confirm, like we were talking about a few weeks ago, it looks like mounts and monsters are going to be combined profiles.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant. So there's no more getting your mount straight out from under you by a cannon. Which is nice, and there's not going to be any issues with, I need to allocate to this guy, they share their profile now. And a Duke on a Hippogriff now is going to be an absolute machine, isn't he?
Yeah, and again, like obviously we've seen in previous articles with the unicorn that they added a wound on. Obviously, this one's adding on multiple wounds and toughness as well, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah,
and as you correctly guessed again, the Stomper tanks being D3 rather than having Thunder Stomp and all these different ones, it just being a figure in the bracket.
Yeah, which is really nice. It gives it granularity, doesn't it, for different monsters, different sizes. It's not just you're this or you're this. It's you're this and you're good, but you're not as good as this. So maybe we'll see trolls at a simple stomp, perhaps, and then we see giants, maybe a lot of stomps, dragons, a lot of stomps.
Yeah.
So it looks really good. Then we got we'll touch on the men at arms profile quickly, I suppose. So the men at arms look exactly the same as they were before, but they've got another little dude in there. They got a Grail monk, and he's like. He's just like a
Friar Tuck.
Friar Tuck, exactly. And that is funny because that little bit of the kit, like those bits you get in there, they always seemed a little bit, they were just kind of a little bit surplus to requirement because they were quite unique. And often you see people build champions with them or the musician or the standard bearer with them. But it was almost like the kit was designed to have another little thing in it. And now they've made use of that, which is really cool. So, and him giving his whole unit stubborn. I mean, it looks like stubborn's changed a little bit by the way it's designed. It's the first time they take a break test. They don't need to risk a dice roll. Instead, they just fall back in good order. So that's a really nice a really nice way.
And shield wall looks cool as well.
Well, that's it. Yes, that combined with shield wall looks like men at arms that go in nowhere. So shield wall allows them to give ground instead of falling back. So even if they roll a fallback, they're just going to push back another D3 inches or whatever it is. So they're really going to hold the line while the knights are doing their job.
Yeah, so it's basically give ground or run away screaming.
Yeah. Men at arms of, I mean, they were a tar pit unit already, weren't they? Or a tar pit unit hit quite hard. Looks like now they're going to be a real tar pit unit, real hard to shift. They might not do as well now the weapon skill charts changed. They're going to be hit more easily, and they're going to be hitting it's going to be a little bit harder for them to hit things.
Yeah.
I say that only the high weapon skills. They're still going to be hitting most things on 4s still, which is they're not going to suffer too much. But yeah, with that, and I'm assuming pole arms will be the same as they were before. They might be different now. Maybe a pole arm will be more like a spear now. So they might not hit a strength 4 anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like they're gonna really hold the line. They've got the horde keyword as well, and the close order keyword. So yeah. Right, so I think pretty much. Oh yeah, then we've got the little bit at the bottom which mentions the border princes taking bombards. Which is really cool. So if you've got the old Bretonnian bombard models, you can get those back out again. You can have some artillery in the army. And I wonder if maybe we'll see sort of the other Bretonnian units that we haven't seen yet, like crossbowmen, perhaps.
Yeah.
A lot of Bretonnian models in 5th edition that didn't make it into 6th. So I wonder if perhaps those will come back in one way or another.
Yeah. And
so yeah.
The only other little bit on the bottom there is a little clue there saying that obviously there'll be no almanac article next Monday because it's big Christmas, but on the 26th you need to check in for something of an off-white Christmas. So I don't know. I'm guessing that's going to refer to something to do with the Tomb Kings being off-white. Bone coloured, maybe, but
yeah, something to do with the old Tomb King leaked box set, maybe.
Oh yeah, so somebody's getting fired for that one.
Yeah, introduce to that one, James. The old leaked box set for the Tomb Kings. Oh, I think we've lost James. He's
Sorry, I'm back.
No, you're right. No, right. We got carried away with fantasy again. Sorry. Yeah. Don't worry. Right, we'll move on, shall we?
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of all the newsy news. So on to what we've got on our hobby desk. So yeah, James, do you want to chat about what you've been working on recently?
Oh, you've been working on tanks, which won't come as a surprise to a lot of people. But I've been repainting or playing around with a colour scheme on a Crassus. I wasn't happy with how the tanks were looking. So I've been trying to add some green into the mix, which works really well. And I've got distracted even more. And I was like, the Crassus actually is a really nice model. I might use it for my militia more. So I'm now just adding an absolute ton of stowage onto the top of it.
Perfect. Yeah, no, it does look really nice with that green in, and I have to say that the weathering you do on your tanks looks absolutely fantastic. You know, the scratching on the transfers and stuff like that, and all the streaky griminess and everything. Yeah, right in my basket.
There's a little bit of me that hopes someone will drop out from one of the events, and then I can run some militia in a city with a Crassus.
Yeah. I've got to drop out. Oh no! Whatever will I do?
Your ticket's gone. Wait, did I ruin this for you, James, by taking the other ticket for Orthorns?
As much as I want to play, it's probably sensible that I don't.
Oh, that's right. Fair enough.
So, are you going to 2 Orthons then?
I might be going. I might be going to 2 Orthons.
Oh my goodness!
There's no breaks in the heresy train, mate.
No, wow, no, certainly not.
Are you redoing all your vehicles, James, or just?
I now that I've done one, yeah.
Oh mate, they look really good already, though. Like, mind you, that
It's just
Crassus it does look nice.
just that little bit extra for them.
Yeah, that's it. suppose nothing's ever fully finished, is it? You're always like, oh, I can go back and do a bit more on that. You know, it's like, even though it's like it is done, you can go, oh yeah. You sort of think to yourself, oh, I could do that. I could do that. You're jumping in and doing, yeah. It does look really nice.
I think as long as you don't be an absolute retard and go, oh yeah, that I need to do a new scheme, and so you end up stripping your entire army in one go rather than doing it, each model as you come and do it again.
There was a part of me that was like, do I just put chipping fluid over all of these tanks and then give it a nice color and then just chip it all the way back? That would have been way too much work.
That would have been well.
Just add some green instead.
Yeah. No, it looks really nice, mate.
Certainly does. And Jack, what have you been working on?
Well. So, since what have I done? Fucking shitloads. So I printed a load more Imperial Army. So I printed my well, I say low. But I've printed all my artillery crew finally. So I had 3 Earthshaker batteries and no crew for ages. The crew are printed. I printed a load of well, I sort of mocked up and printed a load of Rough Riders as well.
Nice.
So I wanted to, so I've taken I found some horses that I was using for mounted yeomen, changed the armor on them a little bit, and then cut up some of the dudes from the infantry squad, and then stuck them on there. And I've printed those, and I've printed all the lance arms. But so I got the lance arms from the guys I use for my Imperial Army. The creator does a bike squadron for them, so I got the bikers, and then I was using the lance arms off there, but they're not quite right. So I've sort of cut them up. I've actually got Lychee open now, and I was sort of cutting them up and changing them around a little bit. How they look. So there's probably a bit more to do on those yet. So I'll probably reprint all the lances and the hands. But yeah, so I got that. I printed a Discipline Master as well. So he's going to be carrying the Fist of Doom. What's it called? The Irradiated Power Fist.
Yes.
I remember someone called it the Apocalypse, and I wish.
The Apocalypse. I was calling it the Pay to Win Fist, to be fair. The Apocalypse is brilliant, though. That's what
transaction fist.
I'm going to change that in my list right now. Change it to say Apocalypse. But yeah, so I printed I made a Discipline Master with the Apocalypse, so I printed him. So if you want to charge my Discipline Master, he's going to slap you. I think I'm just going to throw him in like a random infantry squad and just be like, oh no, you charge this chap, It'd be a shame if I challenge your Warlord. Bam!
Skadoosh.
Exactly. 9! Boom. So yes, I've done that. And then I've been painting. So I've got a Trebuchet that's nearly finished for Bretonians. So yeah, and then I've been printing my Fire Sport squad painting my Fire Sport squad as well for Imperial Army. So they're nearly done now. So you've got 10 Fire Sport teams with las cannons. So I've just done all the chin straps on them and the cigarettes the dudes are smoking. So yeah, to be honest, I'm almost done. It's just bases and a little bit of touch ups. Got to do the little infrared laser lights on them, and then the squad markings. Yeah, and then they're ready. So yeah, loads to be honest. And then after that, it's onto the recon team. After that, so
always have something ready for the next step.
Well, I've got to do the recon team, then the artillery squad, and then I've got to do the land raiders after that. So I've got a fair bit to do. Now I'm taking to February as well. We'll see. There's a timer now, so I got a lot to do, and I undercoated my questing knights as well.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so I've done a little bit. So a bit, yeah,
just a few.
Yeah. What about yourself then, Dave?
Well, I was thinking, before we got started, I was like, I haven't really done that much over the last 2 weeks, but the more I think about it, actually. So, talking about Apocalypse, I've finished my Nemesis Destroyer squad for my Ultramarines, which
they look really sexy.
Thank you. I was thinking the Sergeant could have the Apocalypse because that's quite thematic, being irradiated and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got them done. I've finished the extra 2 guys I needed for my command squad. And going back to what we were saying earlier about looking through like previous editions and stuff for inspiration for your army. So For Orthorns Hope, I'm hoping to do a drop pod assault force, and wanted to do a command squad. And I was having a look at some of the old like box sets that used to be able to get, 6th, 7th edition, and the old style command squads obviously used to have like the little apothecary guy, and then you had like the little champion guy in there as well. And then so I was thinking, I'll add a Primus Medicae and a Legion champion to sit with the with the command squad, and then they can all come down in all together, and it will kind of look a bit more like like almost like a sort of proto version of those command squads, which I think will fit in quite nicely.
See, I've always thought that command squads should be able to upgrade members to the consoles. So you should be able to upgrade a chosen. You should pay the cost of the console, and then the chosen gains that console's equipment. So like you pay, the standard bearer pays whatever it is, 35 points, and becomes a herald. One member pays 45 points, becomes a Primus Medicae. One becomes a Forge Lord. One, that sort of one becomes a champion. And they're all contained within that squad, because they've all got the stat line of a console anyway, other than ballistic skill and lack of a refract field. So they're not far off. So they keep obviously the chosen profile, but they gain all the equipment and special rules of those consoles.
That would be cool.
I think that should be a thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to sort of go like with the drop pod assault list. I'm trying to kind of, as much as I can, gauge them to sort of almost be like a prototype of the Space Marine drop pods, the forces that you'd get in 40k. So obviously you've got the inducti squads for the Ultramarines, which are essentially sort of test versions of the modern tactical squads, because they have the 2 people can take the special weapons. So I'm taking 2 units of them. I'm taking a box knot, which will be in a drop pod as well, and then this proto sort of command squad that I've put together as well. So I'm hoping it will have that sort of feel to it as well. So I've finished those, and then I've been contacted to do a commission to create a bunch of jungle/forest style themed bases for a gentleman's Catachan Imperial Guard army.
Nice, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so I finished building those, and I've literally tonight undercoated them, so I'll be able to start painting them soon. And then I've built my Primus Medicae and given him undercoat. Built my Boxnaut, and he's been undercoated. And then because I haven't got nearly enough to be getting on with, I thought Necromunda looks really cool, and I think it might have been the Orthorns Hope chat. Somebody said, "Oh, we should do a." Yeah, I think it was, because they were talking about all of the terrain that James has got for the City Fight event. I was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be really cool if somebody did like a one-shot weekend Necromunda sort of thing?" And I was like, "Oh, Necromunda did look cool." So I've hooked out a load of old Orlok models that I bought ages ago and never painted. Like, literally just built them, and that's it. And I was thinking, I'll get them painted up and see what happens. So they're also on my painting table at the moment.
So, James, Necromunda event when?
Did anyone else take responsibility for the Necromunda event?
I don't think so.
I'd have the same problem again. I'd want to play in it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, someone else doesn't need to. I'll run an event next year, and then you can play in it.
Or just have it as like a quite loose, casual thing, and join in.
Yeah, loose casual, mate.
I suppose the handy thing with Necromunda is that obviously everybody's got to have a bit of time to do the admin for their gang. So I suppose that could give you a bit of time if you did want to join in, I suppose.
That's a very good point.
But, yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All of that.
I'd quite enjoy running a Necromunda campaign. The only thing is, I don't actually know any of the rules. Well, I know like 3 of the rules of Necromunda, but I don't actually know how to play the game, so I probably wouldn't be a very good campaign tyrant. They're like, what do you do here? I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Because every time we've played Necromunda, that's always been the case. What do we do here? Don't know. Fuck it. We'll make it up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it'll be fine.
Uh,
It's in one of the 6 rule books.
you just have to channel your inner philosopher and go, what do you think should happen here?
Rocks fall, everyone dies.
What would your gangers do in this situation?
If it's the Mac, it's turn out the lights and shoot everyone with flechette pistols.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Correct way.
Yeah.
Right. Well, moving on from that, that brings us nicely on to events.
Yeah. So,
It's your time to shine now, James.
yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, do you want to introduce yourself anyway, James? Because you've just said sort of hi so far, really. So, do you want to sort of tell everyone a bit about yourself, sort of what your like gaming background is and stuff, how you got into it, and then how you started running events?
Yeah, sure. So, kind of like I think most of people, I got into the hobby way back when. Would have been 3rd edition. I remember spending 40 quid on that Black Templar and Dark Elder box, and I wish it was still that cheap.
Yeah, right. They brought it back, and it was like 100 quid, wasn't it? That's so fucking mental. Like when they had it on
Without the ruins.
Yeah, right. Yeah, without the best
All the trees. I miss those little palm trees.
Oh, the little jungle trees.
I've got 2 sprues of those still in the loft, untouched, and I'm like, one day. It's like,
oh, they would probably go for silly money on eBay now.
Mate, they probably fucking would, to be fair.
Yeah.
Sexy.
But yeah, started playing 3rd edition. I think, like most people, I think my very first miniature was a Black Templar.
Nice.
Really chunky white shoulder pads that looked like absolute dog shit. Tried freehanding across and gave up on that. And then I remember the Eye of Terror Codex came out.
Yeah, was that the start of your Lost in a Damned adventure? Was it?
Oh yeah, all those modelling guides on like, here's some zombies, some chaos dudes, and some catachans. Just glue it all together and it'll be fine. And I was just like, wow, you can just glue stuff and it'll be fine. I remember that's where my chaos love has come from. And just gluing mad stuff together. But then you had what, City Fight as well. And between the rule book and the City Fight book, I just remember in the White Dwarfs looking at the terrain.
Yeah.
And seeing all those boards, and that's where I fell in love, I think, the most. Just looking at all these cool boards and was like, one day I want to build that. So I've built myself several boards over the years. Always came back to City Fight boards. And kind of got to the point where I was building a couple of extras. I think I had the City Fight board. Then I built myself a trench board. And I would have built myself one other, I think, by that point. And I was like, I've got all these cool boards, but I don't play enough. We should let other people play on them. But you can't do an event with 3 boards. So maybe I'll do 5 boards. So I built up another couple, put some photos online, and was like, would anyone be interested in playing on some boards like this? And it went, there was a lot of positive response to it.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, I'll do an event with these boards. I think when it came to putting the tickets out, it sold out in like 2 days or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, and there's like loads of people on the waiting list. Okay, I'll just build a couple more boards. I think I got up to like 9 by that point. Did that event, and it all started from there, just as an excuse to play some games that I didn't get to play in myself.
That's the best
And then
excuse.
it got out of hand. I think it was the 2nd or 3rd event where I think we went up to 12 boards.
Yeah.
And one of the things, obviously, to differentiate it wasn't just here's some boards with some terrain plonked on a map. It was all the modelled French board, fortress board. It got out of hand very quickly.
But it got out of hand in a brilliant way, didn't it?
Oh god, yeah. Every event I've enjoyed so much.
Yeah. Like, you seem to avoid, you seem to hit that point, like, every time you're doing an event, you put in a chat where you're like, and then after that, you're like, everything's fine. It seems to be that point where it's like, oh dear, is this going to go wrong? And then it just comes together so well. And like, it just
Yeah,
looks so
I have this habit of not making life easy for myself. I think I lost count when I put it in the chat of how many ruins I've bought and painting for this event.
yeah, it's escalated quite quickly, hasn't it?
It was always coming. It was just that they're not here yet, so I don't have to worry. And then they started arriving, and I'm like, this is a lot of terrain.
I'm in danger.
I think what was it? I think it was 96 buildings worth of ruins. It worked out to be,
Oh my Christ.
and that's only on 9 tables. That's fine because the 10th one is themed.
That is
Oh,
beautiful.
so yeah, it's gonna be brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, go on.
No, go on. You're right.
I was going to say, like, I've said it in previous episodes. I have to say your heresy events are fantastic. I think it's just the perfect combination for such a good weekend. Like, and I think it helps that it's you've got all the players that seem to turn up seem to be really good spirited as well, and put just as much effort into their armies. And then to have all these beautiful looking armies playing on these amazing looking boards, it just really like grabs you into the into the moment and helps you sort of deep dive right into it, and you could just forget about anything else for a weekend and just get lost in throwing dice and pushing awesome looking toy soldiers around awesome looking maps. And then the effort that you put into your mission briefings and stuff like that is just really adds to the atmosphere. And I just think it's fantastic. So definitely looking forward to the next one next year.
Yeah, kind of what you said about like the thematic side of it. That's always been the thing I've enjoyed when I've played and wanted to get across to other people, especially with Heresy, with it being such a narrative game. You just want to try and immerse people into it as much as possible.
Yeah, and it definitely comes across.
Yeah, like it's you can tell you've just got like the passion for it, and it's like you said, it's that immersion, of you get there and you're like, oh, you got all your video briefings and you got your banners up, and you've got you feel like you're part of the narrative for that weekend,
Yeah,
as opposed to just rolling up and you're like, oh, cool, I'm gonna throw some dice around, which there's nothing wrong with that because you still be playing games on some really awesome tables, but it's like you say, it's having that involvement in the game. It's really I think you almost do yourself short a little bit because it must be incredibly hard to do, and it's probably incredibly hard to do right as well.
I think I've been lucky. I've done quite a few events over the last year. Had a lot of people around that have gone to a lot of events, and I've been able to kind of take bits from different events, things we think are really cool, really nice, and then just kind of mash it all together.
Yeah,
And kind of taking the best bits from every event you go to, you see ideas, and you're like, huh, stealing that.
yeah, I'll have that. That's a good way
Yeah.
to do it, I think, isn't it? It's good to it's not be too proud to be like, oh well, I'm just gonna have my own ideas. If it's a good idea, steal it.
Yeah.
Because everyone will love
I
it.
mean, what's a good example? The way we do the deployment on the pairings.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
That I stole. That was from New Aura Painting, I think, and the miniature only events. I just absolutely loved it. And that's kind of become a staple now. I think that's been at every single event and will be again next year.
I think that's a brilliant way of doing it. Like I really like that. And it's
Same. I
And
imagine
it's never not worked.
no,
You
it's
get the
funny actually. They did it at the Merchant Princelings one, and they just completely fucked it up.
I think
really
it's lucky because the events are smaller, sort of 10, 12 tables. It's a bit easier to manage when you've got less people.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's really because what they didn't say traitors go first or loyalists go first. They said, "I'll put your boots on the board." So you had people putting 2 commanders on the board. Because it was a doubles event as well. You had people putting like 1 dude on the board. You'd have someone putting like a loyalist world eater down, and someone would put like obviously like a loyalist to fight a world eater, and then they'd be like, "No, I'm loyalist, mate."
Oh no.
Yeah, it went really badly for him. Just like I say, just because they, because obviously, they didn't say like traitors, go and put your models down, and then when everyone's put a model down, loyalists, go and put your models down. It was just like a bit of a free for all.
Yeah, when you've only got to manage
Everyone
like
was
20
very
players, it's a bit
confused.
easier to
Oh
shout
yeah,
in the
no.
room.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, because there's so many people. I think they just, no one could do anything about it. It was just kind of like organized chaos, and I was like, oh no. Like, I felt really sorry for him. So I think they were like, oh shit. Like it did work, but it was a little bit more. Like I say, it was a bit more hectic.
Yeah, I imagine the way like doing it that way as well for you, James, probably takes a little bit of the stress off you on the day because you don't have to worry about pairing people up because it's people go and choose which map they want to play and what army they like the look of playing against. Really,
Yeah, I mean, the only real stress you get on the day is just chasing
I think
the results change your missions as well.
Mm.
Trying to get that done in your breaks in between, that's the only hard part. Not having to worry about then pairing people up just makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's a good way to get people talking as well.
Oh, what
Yeah.
have they for the matchups? Me like, oh, what's your dude? That sort of thing.
Exactly that.
Yeah. Oh, that is actually, that's a really good point. Yeah, bit of preamble before the game, sort of thing. Yeah, I liked the way you did the commanders as well for the space the fleet missions, the fleet event rather, for the Zone
Oh
Mortalis.
yes, Zone Mortalis.
Yeah, you had the commanders. That was really funny.
Yeah.
Well, that was
I was hoping for more backstabbing, but it didn't happen.
Well, I mean, Connor, there was a bit of backstabbing because Connor was our commander, wasn't he? So Connor was just like, Deus Vol, I am the Imperial Fist. We're like, why you do this? And he's like, nah.
I think that's the other thing from the events. They turned into carnage, especially that last one with the last mission.
Yeah, with the
All the
demon.
nukes.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those demons had a terrible time, didn't they?
Oh god, who was someone racked up a stupid number of points?
Aaron, yeah. So yeah, because me and Ollie thought we'd got it because we were both playing like very anti-demon armies. Because I had an S-Terrace and LFKers, and Ollie was playing full Thousand Suns, and we'd killed this demon like so many times. Yeah, and then Aaron's like, we killed it like 34 times or something. We're like, what?
I mean, that's the other fun thing about the events. I remember writing that mission and I had the Doom soundtrack on repeat.
Oh yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that was such a good mission. Do you want to explain that mission actually for those listening? Because it was a really fun mission.
Oh, I can't remember the specifics of it now, but I remember the gist of it was you had your mission. There was a demon that started in the middle of the board. He'd charge whoever was nearest. And he was only, tough 4, 1 wound, strength 4. He wasn't anything scary.
Yeah.
Except you got the victory point every time you killed him, and he just respawned immediately.
And he
Well, I think
scattered
he would
around,
scatter through
scatter
walls
around.
and stuff, wouldn't he?
Yeah. And it was it's just hilarious. Just run into stuff. And spawn attacky dudes. And then
I think I took a bit of inspiration from Terrence for that one.
Oh, Terrence.
Good old Terrence.
Demon Terrence. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been May, I think, when that event was.
Yeah, I think it.
There,
Yeah, I think it was.
The
Yeah, so
Bristol
just
Rebels.
after you've been eaten by Terrence.
Yeah, so I think I'd just been dicked around by Terrence and was like, "Nah, this is cool. This has to be."
We need that.
How without ripping it entirely.
Yeah. No, that was really cool. It was just really funny. And like the sort of thing you're like, I could shoot my opponent or I could just shoot the demon. Because we had like a corridor where like Ollie had like whatever 2 units of Thousand Suns and I had a unit of Nullificators. We just didn't shoot each other, we were just shooting this demon.
Yeah.
Just gunning him down repeatedly. Kill him. It was sort of like, do I want to shoot the enemy or am I just going to gun down this guy instead? So yeah, it was really funny. It's just really good. So have you got any sort of special missions coming up for City Fight? Have you got some interesting, crazy stuff?
They're pretty old school, to be honest. I took a lot of inspiration when I came up with the pack and stuff. I was reading the 3rd and 4th edition City Fight books.
Oh yeah,
Looking at the Horus Heresy Black book with the City Fight rules as well, and a lot of it went back to the kind of 3rd edition style missions.
oh yeah, oh nice.
Tweaked a little bit. Got a lot of feedback, a lot of play testing done this time.
Yeah,
and it's just a lot of like take and hold style missions.
That's really cool City Fight though, isn't it? Because it gets quite bloody when you've got sort of taken hold with that. It's a lot of building to building for warfare.
Yeah, and that's what we want to see. Lots of infantry just trying to hold buildings, kind of fighting your way through it slowly, bit by bit.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, because those the 4th edition City Fight book. What was it? Was it Cities of Death? Wasn't it the 4th edition one?
City Fight 3rd, Cities of Death 4th. Yeah. Well, we got a. I haven't put it in the pack, and I haven't really mentioned it to anyone. But one of the things I'm keen on is every mission's different. Every table's going to be slightly different. So there's going to be a couple of extra little surprises thrown in throughout the day. Going to be secret ploys and random events that can occur.
Jack's going to get a little head start, isn't he? Now he's going to the February one as well. He'll know what to expect.
But the joy of it is it's all random.
Okay.
So each table will have a double-sided card. Secret ploys on one side, which each player is going to roll for, which will affect their mission, and then both players will roll for a random event together.
Oh, that's cool.
So the random event will affect the table, and that could be things like earthquakes or lightning storms. And then your secret ploys will just give you little side missions, basically.
Oh, I really like that. So yeah, it's almost like your own force has got its there's the major combined target that everybody's trying to go for in their missions, and then you've got your own force's own like little agenda to what they're doing in that specific area as well.
Yeah, exactly that, and it'll be different every game because everyone's going to roll different things, so it should keep it quite chaotic, I think.
Yeah, I really like that. Nice, yeah, and adds to that sort of feel with the sort of the idea of the City Fight being quite chaotic and sort of the claustrophobic streets and all the everything going on around you, but whilst you're in the city with other teammates, you still can be cut off, and no, I like it a lot.
So keen. Did you do a little rundown of the event pack as well, James? Because there's some pretty cool stuff in the event pack, isn't there?
Where is my event pack? I've got about
it's been so long since I did the event pack.
It was. I mean, this event? I started writing this event pack before the last event.
Oh shit! Yes, it's been ages then.
Yeah, the idea started as a bit of a joke, and then Giles and the Merchant Princeling podcast was like, "Oh yeah, you should definitely do a City Fight," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll do a City Fight." And then I sat down and was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna do a City Fight because fuck it." Where is the event pack?
Yeah, so we could just say if you want to see the event pack, fucking look it up. But I didn't know you wanted to go through some sort of things you put in there because there's some pretty you sort of made some changes to like cover and flyers and stuff.
Starts off with all the background of the previous events. So one of the things that I wanted to do different with this event is most of the time you go to events and it's victory points at the end, loyalist, traitor, victory. Still wanted the loyalist, traitor, victory, but I wanted to do it map based.
Yeah.
So there will be a physical map at the event. Every time you win a game, you'll basically just get a pin and you'll put it in one of the zones on the map. Each zone's worth 1 point, some will be worth more. And the whole idea is hopefully the pins will move and take over the kind of whole city. But what you can do is you can double up pins. So you could put a pin, 2 pins. So you could put a pin in if you won a game, Jack, and then Dave could win a game and he could put his pin if you were on the same side in the same zone. So you fortify it.
Oh, that's cool.
And then the opponent's team, if they have more pins in a zone than you, they'll take it over. But you can fight over the same locations.
Cool.
So there'd be like a big cathedral in the centre that would be worth like 10 campaign points, whereas the rest would only be worth 1. So it'd be quite tactical of, do you put all your eggs in one basket, try and go for the big kind of area in the city, or do you try and take over as much of the city as possible?
Bro, wave after wave of our own men. City. That's cool.
Sam Brannigan it.
Played around, kept the lists quite simple this time. I was going to go quite restrictive on the lists, but kept that pretty tame in the end. We've increased the troops choices, so you can take up to 8 troops choices each game.
Yeah, I forgot that. Oh yes.
Just because it's city fight, you should see loads of troops, surely.
Yeah, no, that I actually forgot that was a thing because I've maxed out my troops in my list, but now I don't know. Oh.
Are quite limited dreadnoughts, because I think dreadnoughts with this amount of cover and this amount of line of sight blocking will just be oppressive.
Yeah, that's it. Really difficult to deal with, probably. It's got a lot of bombs, but
then we added in the additional armory, so you can buy things like tarantula batteries for your army, but they won't affect your force org. You could fortify buildings. You could booby trap buildings, and then there's little things like smoke grenades. So you could throw smoke grenades down and give yourself shrouded or jammer packs, so you can turn off like Nuncio Voxes and augury scanners.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Taking inspiration again from a lot of the older rules, we kind of went through how does it work going through the buildings, how's difficult terrain going to affect deep strikes, cover saves as well. Wanted to make cover a lot more prevalent, taking inspiration from third, but then at the same time I wanted cover save modifiers from weapons.
Yeah, I really like that. You got kind of the building clearing weapons seem like they're actually going to be clearing buildings now.
Yeah, so like if you shoot a las cannon at a squad in a ruin, normally it's going to get a 5 up, but it's going to get nothing because it's just going to go straight through the wall. But if you're in a fortified building, you still get a cover save.
Yeah.
And I think my favourite was the height advantage.
Yeah. That's like
Again,
the plunging fire, isn't it, from fourth ed?
Yeah, it was height advantage in third.
Oh,
So
was it?
If you're higher than your target, you can reduce their cover, and if you're shooting against tanks, like you'd be shooting the top of the tank. So it's like, right, well, all your weapons just gain thunder.
Yeah,
if you're shooting down into tanks.
That's really cool. So it's going to give it like say like light infantry with anti-tank weapons. They're going to get that bonus against vehicles, aren't they? Which they would have in a city environment because they've got, like you say, they can hit those top weak points. You know, they can sort of they've got a bit more time to aim because the tanks can't aim back at them, that sort of thing.
Very thematic, isn't it? You can imagine sort of like a unit with sort of like an anti-tank weapon sort of like creeping through like the crumbled ruins of a building as a sort of a tank sort of going down a street with a supporting squad, and then they sort of like aim over the edge of like a window or something and fire down into the tank and explodes, and all the troops are sort of running for cover, and very cool.
I think I was watching a lot of things like Saving Private Ryan and Enemy at the Gates when I was writing this pack.
Yeah, I was thinking. I was thinking it's very Stalingrad-esque.
Yeah, I had Enemy at the Gates in my head as well.
I did want to do like special sniper characters at the start, but
Yeah, that was in your original draft pack, wasn't it?
that was when I was going to do the event
Yeah.
once.
Mm.
Obviously, this got a bit out of hand with how many times it's being run.
90 buildings out of hand, 3 events later. Yeah, because you're running the same event 3 times, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, we was going to run the first one at Curtin, and then a lot of people showed interest. So it was like, maybe I should run it twice just in case, because I know there's going to be a lot of disappointed people.
There would have
So
been.
spoke to Curtin, and we agreed we'd run it again in March. No, we were going to run it in March, but we agreed we'd run one in February. Put the tickets on sale, and I think they both sold out in half an hour.
Yeah, not bad going.
Which was it's incredibly insane.
Just slightly
And
popular.
because I'm active in like the merchant princelings Discord and things like that, a lot of those guys wanted to get involved. So I spoke to one of the guys in there, and we agreed we'd do it again up in Stratford in April, and that sold out pretty quickly again. It's just been absolutely crazy.
Branching out of the southwest now.
That's it. Do you think you're gonna, if you do obviously more after this one, which I'm assuming you will, do you think you'll do the same sort of thing of running the same event multiple times? Like it'll become a thing?
I think it would be a case of either run it multiple times or scale it up. And with the way doing the terrain this way round, it's a lot easier to scale.
Yeah, because you're kind of you must have reached a mass of terrain now. I know you've recycled some of it, but you must be pretty inundated with terrain now. So I'm assuming you can.
Oh yeah,
You can.
I have enough to do more than 10 boards. It's
Yeah,
just
that's true.
space at the location.
That's it, and it's so hard getting that in Exeter, isn't it? Or just in Devon in general, because like the cost of renting places down here is so much higher than it is kind of up north, isn't it? Like
Yeah, I mean, you say that I was looking at weird places. I mean, one of the places I was looking at, which would be pretty affordable, especially now with all the terrain in place, was places like Dartmoor Zoo.
yeah, Dortmund's would be great.
that idea floating past.
Yeah.
Having a heresy event in a zoo, I think, would be it would definitely be my idea of unique.
Yeah, I think you should do it.
Shoot some
Great.
heretics and go and have a look at the chimpanzees.
Yeah,
Beautiful
exactly.
day.
Get the chimp as a ringer. It's like, or if someone brings like a really offensive list, you're like, oh, you have to play the chimp. Let's get like torn apart. So I'm playing.
Maybe a certain person who's planning on a Porphyrian in the city.
Yeah, he's playing the chimp now.
Yeah.
But no, it's terrible. I mean, we're already thinking about ideas for what to do next. With Imperialis out now, possibly maybe bring Titanicus into it.
That would be cool. Like have like multi-game event. So do you think you do it so one game would affect the other kind of thing?
Either the game or maybe the campaign overall.
Yeah. I think the campaign
would be quite cool.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
But I need to link up with people who know Titanicus and Imperialis better than me.
Yeah, wouldn't it? And it might encourage people to actually get into Imperialis. Because it seems like there's a lot of people buying it, isn't there? There's not a lot of people actually playing it. And it might
It's
be quite
still
cool.
new though, isn't it? I think that'll pick up that game.
Yeah. But yeah, it might be a good starting point for people if you say, look, you can come down, you can play it at the event. You only need 4 or 6 Imperialis players, don't you? And then the rest can all just be heresy players. And then
similar number of Titanicus players.
Yeah, having Imperialis and Titanicus would be quite cool, wouldn't it? So you've got kind of it's like the granularity, isn't it?
And add in some Battlefleet Gothic and then add some ZM games in there, and you can pull your hair out trying to organise it.
Casual, yeah.
I think if we would start, if I went down that route, that would be the case of I'd have to speak to some of the the other Southwest or South England event organisers, because you'd start getting to the point of it being like a greetings weekender,
Yeah.
which would be something that'd be really cool to see in the
Would be.
South.
Yeah,
A
well, that's
southern
it.
version of it.
Yeah, because it's very. I mean, I think we've definitely got the player bases for it, haven't we? Like down there, it's getting it organised and getting everyone together.
Yeah, somewhere like Bristol would definitely be the place to do it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, because then that's
Come
not
on
too far
down.
for the travel, is it? Yeah, get a massive warehouse in Bristol or Bristol Zoo.
Yeah. Well, saying about Bristol, I think there's somebody was posting earlier on one of the chats that there's some event happening in June in Bristol.
Is that the GT one?
Yeah, I was a bit confused because it said about GT, but then it was saying it was a narrative event. I was like, well, which is it?
It's a narrative GT.
I think it's the 40k GT, but they'll do a heresy event as well.
Okay. Yeah.
It did look pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, it's not too far, is it? As well, that's the thing. If it's only Bristol, you think, oh, I could risk that.
Yeah, I've put my email address down on the list to be notified when the tickets go up because it's so I think it's 15th of June, I think that weekend. And it's I think it's being held on or near the university campus. It's near where I used to live in Bristol, so if it is where I think it is, then the parking should be pretty good for there as well, actually. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see. But anyway, little side tangent there.
It's not a tangent. That's important information.
Wow. Yeah.
Little Southwest on tour could be, couldn't it?
Yeah, because it looks like they're doing kind of similar thing. They're doing the same event in multiple places. They've got Bristol, and then some other ones along the south coast and London area. By the looks of things.
It's
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah, maybe that's it. Get everyone together for June. Get to the Bristol, whatever it is, whatever it's called. I don't know what they're calling it. Bristol GT. Yeah, it'd be quite cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Have you got anything you wanted to add to your event stuff, James? Sorry, because we sort of went off topic from that.
I've lost track of what we've covered and what we haven't.
Oh, mate, there's not a lot of planning going on in this. Like,
this is a highly professional podcast. I'll have you.
highly professional, yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything you want to know about the event?
I think the thing is we're pretty well versed in by this point, so it's easy for me to forget there's other stuff people sort of haven't. Oh yeah, you didn't really go on about your sort of going about your video briefings not that much, did you? Because I think that's a really unique thing you've got. I know other people do video briefings, but I think your one's
was
really good.
Totally an idea I stole from
it was
30k Frontier.
That was Gina 5.2 used to do them as well, didn't they?
But yeah, when I got when I did it for the first one, I think it was just a random guy on it. So he sounded really cool, so got him to do a voiceover, and ever since then, just like loved the kind of character I've created with this guy.
Yeah.
So it's been like the same narrator all the way through. Kind of introduces the story and does a little bit of a mission briefing as well with all the graphics and the scores and everything else.
Yeah, but that adds so much to like the immersion, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
I used to love just turning the lights off in UCG, so you'd be
that's
watching
it. Yeah.
Especially if you had people in playing the card games as well, because they suddenly plunged into darkness and had this massive briefing in front of them, like, what the hell is happening?
I'm going to play Enchanted Forest. I know you're not, cunt. You're going to learn about the Orthorns Hope system.
We're going to take it a little step further with Curtin. Obviously, they've got the screen on the wall, so we're going to have the kind of countdown and ambient music playing as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be sweet. You need to get like a wind machine as well, like blowing smoke across the table.
Token on the bank.
Yeah, that's it.
If you book any events with Curtin for the summer, you might need a wind machine just to keep us all cool because it does get a bit warm in there.
You say that I played an event in Curtin this year, and they've got a really nice couple of aircon machines up there.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Okay.
Oh, that's
To the,
sweet.
to the point that we were standing in front of it, and we're like, "No, I'm cold. It needs to turn."
Yeah,
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I've not done an event at Curtin for a while, but it's yeah, been a while since I've been there. And I think last time we went to it was really hot, wasn't it? It was like middle of summer. We were like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
to be fair, I don't mind. It's not like the heat, but I think the larger gentlemen there were definitely suffering.
Yes, I was.
It looked a bit damp. Oh, that's sweet though that they've got. Yeah, there you go. Wind machine sorted. So there we are. Get the smoke on the go.
Yeah. Just walk in and it's just a mist. Like, welcome to the smog of the city.
Yeah. Welcome to Orthorns Hope.
You say that. I've had so many silly ideas with the events where it was literally a case of, I could buy a load of par lights and hang them from the ceiling to illuminate all the boards.
That would have been sweet. Mental. Sweet.
Yeah.
I can bring down some of my task lighting. Hang some of that above.
Try and find all like the old lasers from when I used to DJ and use those. And
I didn't know you used to DJ.
way back when I was in college and not college, university, just after.
Man, many talents.
Yeah, you could like drop a mix like during the like second game. Just
It
like
was
30 minutes remaining.
the best job ever.
Get on! I didn't know you did that.
I got too old for it. That's the problem. I used to. I'd work on a Friday, sleep Friday, go out Friday night, work all day Saturday, go home, have a 2-hour nap, work all night Saturday, and go straight into work on a Sunday.
It's the joy of being young, though, isn't it? Do it. And suddenly your body's like, no.
I think I got tired just listening to that.
Rip. There you go. Learn something new. So not only just an event organizer, also a top DJ, one of Plymouth's top DJs.
Yeah. DJ apostate.
That's it. I'm fully expecting a full mix now for one of the future events. And a full set. That can be the Saturday night entertainment after the event. So
Gonna mix in a load of the vocals from the Horus Heresy video that Games Workshop did with.
I
Horus
never wanted this.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
That was sweet.
So you're sold out on all of your Orthorns Hope events at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah. Jack took the last one for February.
Sorry, everyone. Just wanted to play 2 heresy events.
But if people wanted to check out the the details and keep an eye on it, just in case somebody was mental enough to drop out and wanted to jump on, where's the best place for them to find out about your events?
The best place is probably either my Instagram or the Discords. We've got a Discord channel specifically for the events now. That will probably be the easiest place. I can give you the link to put up later.
Yeah, I'll put your Instagram and everything on the show notes so those listening can find you a bit easier.
Ideal.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think we're pretty much done, aren't we?
Yeah, I think
We're just getting on a little bit.
We've covered our news and we've got on our hobby list and had a good chinwag about some pretty damn awesome events.
Ideal. Right. Shall we? We'll call it a night, then, shall we?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, James, for coming on and having a chat with us about your events. I know we're both really looking forward to the next ones in the beginning parts of next year. Been nice to have you on and learn something new about you as well.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on, and I think that's the highlight of the events. It's looking forward to seeing everyone again next year.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you've built such a good community, haven't you, really? I know, obviously, it's people you know anyway, but sort of bringing everyone together.
Yeah.
Quite a wide community, isn't it? Because we have people all the way from like Truro, and then the guys coming down from Bristol. It's been quite a nice mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really good. Yeah, it's been nice to get. It's done really well, mate.
Keep up the good work.
Right.
That sounded a lot more sarky than it was meant to.
No,
Right.
yeah, it's brilliant. All right, lovely. Well, thanks for listening, everyone, and yeah, thanks for coming on, James. Really appreciate it. And then, like I say, if you want to see, if you want to get hold of James, we're going to put his Instagram in the show notes, and we'll put the Discord, the Orthorns Hope Discord, in there as well. So even if you can't play this time, you can get in the Discord. You can speak to everyone. You can see all the pictures because James puts those up. And in fact, you've got all of the events in there now, haven't you? All split, aren't they? So if you're on the Discord, you can just go, oh, I want to go and look at chapter 3. I'm clicking chapter 3 now, and there's all the pictures that James has taken from chapter 3. And there's some, because you bring your really nice camera in as well, don't you?
Yeah, I
So
think that's something we forgot to mention, wasn't it? I'll do all the photos, all the
photos,
stuff.
yeah, because you do put a lot of effort into your photos, don't you? Because I'm just looking through it now, and it's like say it's a nice bit of kit in it, your camera, and you've got all these really nice action shots. The game's going on, you've got all the models on the boards, and having that terrain it brings all the models out, doesn't it? It just makes them all really pop. So you've got these battle scenes. I'm just looking through now. I'm just seeing everyone's models lined up on these Zone Mortalis boards. There's dudes in corridors fighting each other, dreadnoughts kicking people's heads in. You got Abaddon there, like charging through some Reavers. Yeah, it looks awesome. So yeah, if you let's say if you want to go and have a look at some of that, join the Orphans Hope Discord, and then also it's going to mean that you'll know when the next one's coming up as well. So if even if you have missed out this time, you'll get to get involved in the future, and you can chat to some of the people coming down. Because even if I know a lot of people, maybe you haven't gone to an event before, because I suspect there's a lot of people in the Southwest now that have never been to an event. And probably in the country in general. And I think a lot of things put people off is they don't want to travel down alone sometimes, do they? But if you do get into the Discord, you can speak to people first. You don't feel like you're jumping in kind of completely alone, are you? And it's a good crowd. Everyone's really friendly, aren't they? And everyone's just there to have a really good time, aren't they? Just playing some heresy. So
And even if you're local, come down, check out the event. A lot of the guys are super friendly, and a lot of them have started coming after speaking to people that were already playing.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, if you're in, because it's in Crediton, Curtain Games, and so if you are around Crediton, and you've got an hour or two spare, and you want to pop in, just pop on down. So yeah, pop down to Curtain Games, have a little look around. So yeah, there's lots of ways you can sort of get involved, even if you actually can't play in the event this time. You can still get yourself in there. You can have a look around, see what it's all about. And I suspect when you do come down and have a look, you will want to play the next one. Even if you've only just got into Heresy, or even if you're not into Heresy yet, you might come down and see it and think, this is awesome. And then you can chat to people about how to get into Heresy. In fact, Dave, I think we should do an episode on that in the future about the best way to get into Heresy.
Yeah.
About how to sort of jump onto it. Because there's a lot of different ways to start now, isn't there? I think it's easier to start now than it ever was, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
You've got so many different options. Anyway, that's for the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll put all the links in the show notes so you can find out about Orphan Hope. You can have a look at James' models. You can see the 10 billion points of militia and solar auxiliary that he's got, and all the titans. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you again.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.